Jeroen?
Ja,
Ja,
hoor je
kijk.
mij?
Ja, it's working.
Oké.
Now, you nice to have you here. Could you tell us something about the project BrickEx?
Okay. Well, thank you guys for inviting me over for this Q&A. I'm pretty sure quite a lot of you have already seen our website, but I can give you a quick summary. We've maybe it's good to start with some background information. I've got about 20 years of professional experience with startups in different categories, mostly to do with technology and telecommunication. About 4 or 5 years ago, I came with an idea to start a website for crowdfunding of investment properties called BrickFund. After a preparation phase of about 2 years, I launched the site, and I think in about 1.5 years, we built this up to about $20 million invested in properties. Whilst I was doing BrickFund, I saw quite a lot of competitors starting. Loads of them in the US, but also in Europe and other countries, Singapore, Asia. And they're all acting like silos. They're all trying to get to the same investors and so on. And also a lot of these companies, the core competence was more trying to find the property and managing the property rather than building a network. Whilst I was seeing this, there was also a big trend going on with the cryptocurrency and the blockchain. And I was thinking about, isn't there a better way to do this, and what is going to be next? And then I think all the kind of property companies should basically mainly focus on what they do best, and is finding the right properties, the right location with the best tenants and the best contracts, etc. And why don't we come up with a proposition that kind of combines all the property providers everywhere into an exchange? So the exchange, it was later called BrickEx, and this exchange doesn't really focus on buying properties, but we're just enabling property owners to tokenize that property and make them tradable on the exchange. So we kind of can compare ourselves to kind of the Binance of cryptocurrency, but the overall real estate market is, I think, 1,000 times bigger than the crypto market is at the moment. So our objective is to make investing in real estate easier. We also think by running an exchange, we are kind of developing a whole different asset class, a whole different way of people owning, investing, and divesting in properties. You can even think about, if you have a property that's, say, worth $1 million, and you sell it for $1 million, then the market of buyers is limited, and you probably sell it close to market value of $1 million. But if you can sell it in 1,000 pieces of $1,000 or euros, you might be able to sell it for a premium, say maybe 1.1 million, because people will be prepared to pay for the fact that they can buy a small part of the property, but also they will be prepared to pay for the fact that they can easily trade the property shares on the exchange. So what we want to do with the exchange is that we want to provide liquidity, and that's so that it's easier for investors to buy and sell their property. And why would you want to keep your money into a savings account with 0.1% if you can also invest in property and divest if you would need the money? That's just kind of a nutshell why we started it and our kind of vision. our overall ambition is that we want to build an ecosystem, all to do with investing around properties. So yeah, I mean, I think it would be best if people could start asking questions, so then I can give specific answers, because I can, tell a lot about what we're doing it and why we're doing it. But maybe it makes perfect sense for us. But I mean, a lot of people would have a different level of knowledge about our project and what we want to achieve. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Exactly. So we already have a couple of questions prepared. So we're going to
All
do
right.
these first. And one of the questions is, what are the key points that BrickEx has achieved so far in the building of the exchange?
Okay. Well, the great thing is that we are building this exchange from market experience, and that we see the opportunity. Rather than starting from scratch with technology, we've did a partnership with Massinas. Massinas built an exchange for investing and trading in fine art. We've partnered with them so we can use their technology, but also the parent company of Massinas is DX Markets, and they've actually built exchanges for crypto currencies in the past. So one of the key advantages, I think, we've got a quick route to market because of the technologies that we have currently available. So I think that's one of the key components is the technology. It's the team, the experience we have in a real estate market, and also the traction. We've already got a few partnerships signed up. I think we're in discussion between 20 and 50 companies in different places in the world. Ranging from smaller to kind of bank-sized companies that want to work with us in tokenizing assets, real estate assets on the blockchain.
Okay, that's great. Next question is from Dark Horse. Real estate investors want control. Will investors be able to make decisions about the properties with a portion of ownership, such as updates and renovations, rental rates, etc.?
Yeah, in the short answer is no, because what we've also noticed with Brick Fund, people want that prefer that a professional asset management company looks after their properties, and that they make those decisions. People don't want to be, most of the investors don't want the hassle of being involved in the kind of day-to-day operations of running a property. What providers can build in on the system is, say, for example, if 60 or 65% of all token holders of the asset want to divest it, that it can be sold. But those variables are kind of up to the property provider to pitch in their investment proposition on the exchange. But in terms of day-to-day management, it's better that investors are not involved. Also, because some investors will not want to be actively involved, and some investors that might know about properties want to be actively involved, and then you get maybe a risk of bad management.
Yep. Okay, that's pretty clear. The next question kind of fits into that. Will BrickEx allow new construction projects on the platform as a means of financing for builders' projects?
Yeah, project development is also possible. So the only thing with project development, so the investment is upfront, the project is going to be realized, and then the benefit of will be, if the project is successful, then the token will be worth X% more if the project has been realized. So it's a value investment, because you have to wait 2-3 years for the value. If you invest in a property that's already rented, you get like an immediate dividend rental return on the property. But yeah, it depends on the preferences of the investor. If they want to invest in a project, or if they want to invest in a building that's already has tenants and it's already fully up and running, or they can do a mix, depending on their own risk profile and their own preferences.
Okay. The next question is very important for the current investors and the people that are listening to this in the launch. What's the main channels the marketing team is going to focus on?
On which channels?
Like the targeting groups for the marketing, which people will be targeted.
You mean you're referring to the token sale marketing
Yes.
team?
Yes.
Or do you prefer to the marketing of the actual exchange later?
No, the token marketing, I assume.
Sorry?
The token, the
The
ICO
token
marketing.
sale. Well, we engaged two professional large marketing companies. They're currently setting up a lot of the basics around email marketing, whitelisting, changing the website over a little bit, creating better and more elaborate content. We're building lots of video content, and we're using a kind of a multi-channel marketing strategy where we're focusing on the main social media channels, but we also do email marketing, SEO marketing, where possible, SEA marketing. We're looking for partnerships. So yeah, it's a whole. It's a large different ways of marketing, and how we do it is quite practical and pragmatic. So so we brainstormed with a group of 15 people, like about 50 possible marketing campaigns that could work in selling the token, and depending on the results of one of the. Sorry, so we've identified 50 ways of marketing the BRIC token and the token sale to the market. Then we've rated them. So we've got like the top 10 of rated by all the people that work on the project. So then we start with the top one, and we're running experiments, and they last between 1 and 2 weeks. And based on the result of those experiments, we can then dig deeper in that marketing proposition. And if it doesn't really work, we start with a new experiment, and so over a number of weeks we will try to really get like really targeted, highly converting marketing campaigns active. We've got an objective for the community of 20,000 people. So yeah. So still a lot of preparation work going on there, but I think next week or the week after you should start seeing some results on the site and on an updated one pages and etc.
And how many people have we currently working on marketing?
It's a group of about 15 people. We've got copywriters, SEO specialists, growth hackers, guys actually filled ICOs and public sales before. So yeah, it's quite a varied group of marketeers.
That's great. And then I have a very good question from Beautiful. Who and how would be decided that building A is worth 3,000 coins and building B is worth 2,000 coins? How is the value of the property decided?
Okay, so that's a good question. So when there's a property that wants to be on board on the exchange, we will do due diligence on the property and the property provider. Part of it will be an evaluation report. Say the property is worth $1,000. then a property will be on board at a valuation of $1,000. The property provider has the flexibility to decide in how many pieces they want to upload the property on the exchange. They can tokenize it into 1,000 parts or in 100 parts or in 10 parts. So that's flexible. So property A of 1 million could consist of 10,000 tokens, and property B, also worth 1 million, could consist of 100 tokens. The tokens that represent the property are different than to the BRIC token. The token that are represented that represent a property are actually security tokens because they're asset backed, and for each new property, a new token will be created.
Yeah, and I have a question that actually fits to what you just said about the security. Sandy says, I'm sure you're aware of the complexity of the legal system regarding trading properties, and on top of that, it's in cryptocurrency. Do you have all the legislation
Yeah.
ready and approved? And if not, how are you guys going to take care of this?
Yeah, it's actually it is true. The property and property trading is a highly regulated market. The regulation is, you can basically divide in two categories. The first category is what they call a retail investor. That's like people that can invest a few $1,000s. And then the other category is the professional investor. They can invest 100,000 euros or dollars or more into an investment. For this last group, the professional investors, there's a lot less regulation needed, and we are thinking to do the first projects targeting the professional investors, because we can start very quickly, because we just need a registration with the main regulators, and we don't have to go through a full license, which could take up to 6 to 9 months. So when we start in phase one, and someone has a $1 million property, and you have 10 people that want to buy a tenth of it, the settlement will be in dollars or in euros, wherever the building is created. All the transactional fees and the listing fees, etc., they will be done in BRIC tokens. So we will not have a way to that the actual fiat we will need to convert the cryptocurrency into fiat and vice versa. That we will not start with that.
Oh, okay. That's pretty clear. We have actually another question from Judiful. Seeing as you're based in the Netherlands, how would you handle real estate or clients abroad?
Well, we are based in multiple locations, but we are currently talking to the regulators in Luxembourg for the European Union registrations. So when there is, say we have this 1 million property, we've got 100 investors or 10 investors, and they want to invest. So every investor would need to go through a KYC and AML process. There are external companies that are specialized in this, and that will cost about between $10 and $15 to get this real estate investor whitelisted on the platform. So it doesn't matter in which country they are. They will need to go. We need to go for KYC and AML, also to be compliant with the local regulations.
Okay. Let's see. We have a couple more questions. What is the use of the BrickEx token, and how will it benefit investors and property suppliers?
Okay, well, it's the BRIC token. The BRIC token is we classify it as a utility token. And in the first phase, the main functionality and the main usage of the BRIC token will be to pay for the transaction fees, to pay for listing fees, and to pay for third-party data services on the platform. Two mechanics that we're going to introduce that are going to be favorable for the BRIC token is that we will follow a kind of a Binance approach, where if you have BRIC tokens, that you have you get a fee reduction, and secondly, if you are a property provider, you need to have a certain amount of BRIC tokens in storage to be able to list your assets on the exchange. And the amount of BRIC tokens you need to have in storage will be related to the amount of assets you will have want to put on the exchange. And we are considering, but we haven't really decided about this for sure, is that we probably want to offer also a lease function of this of these tokens. So say property provider A needs 100,000 BRIC tokens in storage to be able to list whatever free properties. And instead of them needing to buy the BRIC tokens, there's a marketplace where holders of BRIC tokens can say, okay, you don't need to buy these BRIC tokens. If you give me, X% per year or per month, then you can use mine for the as a lease structure. So these are in phase one going to be the main ways that will drive the demand for the BRIC token. And later on, when the platform is growing and slightly more mature, we can introduce the BRIC token for dividend payment and also payment for the actual parts of the property as well.
It seems pretty straightforward. So in the end, one could, should be able to compare it to Binance Coin, where it's going to be used for most of the functions of the exchange.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen finance for Binance because we kind of call ourselves the Binance for real estate trading, and we carefully looked at the way that token mechanics work, and it seemed to this approach seemed to have worked really well. So we will adopt that, but we also add some additional functionalities that are more specific for real estate.
Okay. I actually have a good question from Scrums right now. He asks, does having a mortgage on a property affect its listing?
No. I think maybe it's important to realize how a listing will take place, and then what happens in the background. So say there is a property of €1 million. This property will be placed in a special purpose vehicle, say a limited company. This property of $1 million could also have a mortgage, say, of $500,000. So the equity value of that property in that limited company is $500,000. Say this company has 500 shares, and these 500 shares will be mirrored into the smart contract and into the tokens. So each token represents one share in the SPV or in a limited company that holds that property. So that one share is worth 1,000. But mortgages need to be repaid over time. So the equity will increase and the token value will increase by mortgage repayment. And also if the property will increase in price, your token will also increase even more. But the other way around is the same. If the property goes down, your equity goes down, and the token value will go down as well. And in a worst case situation with a mortgaged property, what you've seen during the last financial crisis is that people that had a $1 million property with a 50% mortgage, and then if the house the prices crash by 40 or 50%. And you don't have any equity anymore. And in those instances, depending on the mortgage and the mortgage conditions you have, the bank would demand that you sell the property and pay the mortgage. So with mortgaged and leveraged real estate, you need to be careful how much it's leveraged and what the conditions are
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Okay. That seems
Jeroen, I have
pretty straightforward.
another question for you. In which countries the properties will be? Are you looking for some kind of regions or just worldwide?
Well, it's given the complexity of the regular of compliance and regulatory, it's impossible to launch in all the countries in the world to buy properties there. Our first objective, our first market is going to be Europe, because with one licensor, with one regulator, you have the whole European Union, because they all have the same regulation. Other markets are the US, Singapore, Hong Kong, and it depends a little bit on the actual partnerships that we are discussing and forming now to kind of which market will have priority. So say we have a very strong local partner in the US that will get more traction than if you don't than if you wouldn't have this partner in Hong Kong. For example, now we are talking to some companies in Costa Rica that do a lot of development there that are interested in tokenization. Say we come to some kind of agreement there, then we might be able to launch Costa Rica before the US even. So it's to a certain extent opportunity driven, but the plan is first Europe and then Singapore, Hong Kong, US.
Thank you. And do you already have some partnerships that they want to deliver some real estate to get listed on the BrickEx exchange?
Yeah, we've got a large number of real estate advisors, and a lot of them trade in real estate and have got lots of connections. So we've already got, on the supply side of the properties, there's not going to be an issue. The issue is going to be more to get the platform ready, to get the legal in place, etc.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I have a pretty good question. There's more than one
All the
real
questions are
estate.
good.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. There's more than one real estate blockchain project going on right now. How is BrickEx going to differentiate itself from the other real estate projects? In essence, what makes it better?
BrickEx welcomes all the other blockchain initiatives to work with us. You see that a lot of these blockchain initiatives, they focus on a certain region, and they actually also are involved in acquiring the assets and tokenizing the assets or managing the assets. And BrickEx purely focus on the exchange. We don't get involved in any property asset management, in any property acquisition, and so on. So all the property, all the kind of real estate initiatives in the blockchain that have tokenized properties, and they want those tokens to be tradable, not just within their own site, but also on the exchange. They can work with us because the benefit for them is they can reach a much larger investor pool through BrickEx, and if they kind of act more in silos. So we've already been talking to a few ICOs that have been that did their ICO last year and tokenizing real estate, and they're quite keen. One of them already said they will work with us as Real.Markets, and we are all talking to another 3 or 4 that are very interested in also connecting to our exchange. So they have their own website that people can buy tokens, but those tokens can then also be made available on our exchange. So you have to kind of think of it in this way. So say you have a website, you tokenize that $1 million company for property, and then you have to find investors. So how do you find investors? So you have to spend money in marketing. So all the money you spend in marketing will cost you, maybe whatever, 50, 60, 70% of the commission you will get from this, from the investors that buy the property. So instead of spending all that money for marketing, they can also share their commission with BrickEx and then tap into our exchange. That's one of the benefits that we can offer them. And also, if they have the secondary market and they don't have enough investors, the secondary market can come to a standstill, and people will be unable to get out. And by connecting to BrickEx, that focuses on liquidity, they can tap into a more liquid market place.
Okay, that's great. One more question from Dark Horse. What types of transparency will property investors have about the property? How will investors in properties on the exchange be protected against fraud or owners skimming off the top?
Yeah, so the property provider due diligence. So we will check that it's a valid company. Usually there will be a separate asset management company that managing the assets. So imagine it's a $10 or $20 million apartment building. That's like a professional asset manager that manages all the rental income, all the maintenance plans, etc. These will all go through due diligence. And BrickEx is currently we are currently talking to insurance companies to see if we can provide an insurance. So if there's if something goes wrong, that we can always pay back the investor what their initial payment was. It's a little bit comparable to Airbnb, for example. If you rent an apartment there, you are assured by Airbnb that the apartment is there and it's confirmed the pictures. If it's not, you get your money back. And for the people that own the property that rent it for Airbnb, and if they have a tenant that destroys the whole place, they are covered by an insurance by Airbnb. That's an insurance that we are looking into providing as well, because investors that invest for BrickEx has to be assured that it's all safe.
That's great. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions.
Yeah, I have one question from Lens. What are the benefits of the tokens for both the token holders and the property owners?
Oh, we already had this question.
Oh shit! I think it's
No worries,
the
no
wrong
worries.
one. My bad.
No worries. So in short, I think that those were most of the important questions. Can you, in short, please tell us why people should invest in the Bright token, and what the half a year to the 1 year future for BrickEx is going to be like?
Well, the future is always bright, as I say. But the next 6 to 9 months, we're focusing on getting the exchange live. But also, we have built an investment site, a white label investment site for property owners. So, say there's a property fund, a traditional property fund that has a number of properties in its portfolio, but they would like to put it in a blockchain and tokenize that and sell them under their own brand to their own investors. So we've built a solution that we can provide this website and to them in their own look and feel very quickly. So it's very easy for whatever property developer to start tokenizing their own properties based on our technology. And once I've done that, and it's just like a tick in a box in the back end to make those tokens also available on the exchange later in 2019. So we've got like a two-tier approach, and we're talking to a few kind of big companies. One of them in Spain actually that want to start using that. We've already built a solution for a company in Singapore. That tokenizes a property within their own brand based on our white label solution. So that's all pretty cool. As I said, we think the real estate market is a very traditional run market. It's enormous. It's the largest asset class in the world. We think the time is now to really shake it up, to put a lot of these properties in the blockchain, make them accessible for investors, make them easily tradable, create a few cool exchange products like that certain customized index trading, etc. And yeah, really build a new real estate investment class, redefine the way people invest in property and also how they can divest in property when necessary. As I said, the market is 1,000 times larger than the crypto market. And yeah, once we start building traction with the exchange, yeah, we think it could become pretty enormous. You know, it's not for no reason that I stopped Brick Fund and gave have another management team running Brick Fund for me to free up all my time to dedicate to BrickEx, because that's where I see the biggest potential in the market for the next 3 to 5 years.
And we wish you all the luck in doing so. Thanks for
Okay,
the Q&A.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And well, if there's any questions about our own Discord channel on BrickEx, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions there, or you can send us an email through info@brickex.io, or you know, there's a number of ways to reach out to us. So we're here to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you very much, Jeroen. Have a great evening.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, to all the members in here, I've given you permission to talk again. Oh, you're still on the channel.
Sorry.